Hey, have you ever traveled?
No.
We're traveling
We're
right
traveling
now.
right now.
Wait,
Yeah.
right
Yes,
now. Why did you say no?
I don't know. It was
Steve.
the wrong answer.
It's our first show in a travel to location.
Whoa, I'm sorry.
Come on.
Have you ever, what?
All right, listen. So here's the thing. In here, the Wi-Fi is fine. Elsewhere, you're never sure.
No?
You don't know. And that's
Yeah.
why you might want to use Saley. It's great it's backed by Nord Security. So obviously it's going to keep you protected. And also it's a great eSIM plan. And that's what we use when we're on the road.
It's not just about the Wi-Fi. It's about having a stable connection with your phone, and you know that it's cheaper
Yes.
than using whatever the blue and red people want you to pay for that cell service when you're traveling.
That's right. You've heard of them, right?
No.
No.
Also no.
eSIMs in 160 countries and 8 regions around the world. Check out Saley. It's Saily. And I'm just looking over here to make sure I got the discount. Yeah, that's right. 15% discount on Saley data plans. Use the code Dangle at checkout. Download the Saley app or go to Saley, Saily.com/Dangle. Let's start the show.
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
All right, welcome to the capital of Silicon Valley. And we are in the house of Barracuda right now.
Woo.
The Steve Dangle Podcast in San Jose, baby. Let's go.
The house that Barracuda built?
No, that's right.
Yes.
Let's go. The house of Cuda.
Yeah. Mr. Kuda. First name
Mr.
Barra.
Barracuda. Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah. We are in the largest city in Northern California by population area. 9 million people in the Bay Area. So
Wow.
it's San Jose. There's Santa Clara. There's Oakland. I'm Ron
getting
McClain.
tourism
Oh, we're getting tourism on
Yeah,
this
Ron
one.
McClain.
Hey,
Give me
you want to know what? You know
more
some
from
other
the
stuff?
pamphlet, Dad.
Major tech companies, including Cisco, eBay, Adobe, which is near our hotel, PayPal, Broadcom, and Zoom, maintain their
Talk
headquarters
about what's
here.
around the hotel.
You know what else
Yeah.
used to be down the street?
What?
Your favorite company, 23andMe, where you can buy Steve's DNA now, which is great. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you did do that.
Yeah.
That was weird. I don't know why you did
told you
that.
not
I
to
was
do it.
bored
We said don't do
and
that.
wanted to know, what are they going to do? Clone me?
Hey, I'm 48% European. Cool, man.
Yeah, I could have told
I'm
you
a
that.
lot more European than that.
I could have eyeballed that and told you that one.
A lot more.
Is there a subscription about your family history that you haven't bought yet, Steve Dangle?
Hey, hey,
'Cause you
we all
also
had
did
our
it-
COVID hyperfixation.
You did Ancestry too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You
And I
did
think
all
they're
of
still in
them.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry for having a curious mind. I'm
That's
sorry for
weird.
having a curious mind. I'm sorry.
So
Here,
listen,
what boring thing do you like? Let's get into that.
many boring things.
Yeah.
Many boring things. We actually we had an amazing sort of arrival in San Francisco yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Drove out here. We rented bikes.
was
We went
sick.
to the grocery store. We walked around. We went for tacos last night.
Going further back, we woke up to snow on the ground.
Oh yeah.
There was
Oh, yeah,
snow
in
on the
Ontario, it
Yeah,
snowed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And by the afternoon, we were sweating bullets. Like, it was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It's beautiful here.
Unreal
Mhm.
change.
Palm trees and everything. And it's funny because, if I look down the hall behind the camera here, I'm seeing beautiful 28 degrees and sun outside.
Mhm.
And it feels like home inside of a rink, which is kind of nice too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to be here. We're in obviously Fireball Cove in the
I
Barracuda.
don't know if
rink.
that's
And-
obvious.
oh yeah,
I don't
sorry.
think it is.
It's not obvious that we're in
No,
Fireball Cove.
no,
we did
no.
sort of
I think
promo that we would be here.
Yeah, but I think you need to tell
Oh,
majority of people what
So,
Fireball Cove is.
It's a sweet bar in the new Barracuda rink, with which we are a part of, which
Yes.
is pretty neat. And it's actually cool. Hang on, give me a sec, because they had some drink specials, and I wanted to bring them up for the show.
Sure,
Oh.
sure. So while Adam does that, let me just explain what Fireball Cove is. It's their sweet bar, as Adam said, but it's like at the level of the ice. So if you're listening right now, we are at the glass where the net is, and then in front of us is a bar
So they
where you
have-
can just walk up and get drinks and watch the game where the Barracuda play.
They
It's pretty
have,
cool.
Cuda frozen cocktails you can get, blue raspberry and strawberry, right?
I like that.
This is my favorite.
I like both.
the Cuda Rita.
Oh,
So it's a margarita, but it's a Cuda Rita.
it's
What's
made
in it?
by a real live Barracuda.
Tequila, blue curacao, triple sec, sweet sour.
Wow.
Ooh.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, delish. Anyway, it's a
Nice.
good time. So we're going to have, today's show is going to be really fun. We've got two great interviews. coming up. And of course, we also have to talk about everything that happened last night, including an unbelievable disallowed goal for the Islanders. Jake Chychrun's contract extension was announced today. But you're excited about that.
Yeah.
But also, I think we need to talk about the fact that we are, for the rest of the week going to be here doing interviews. We're going to talk to the president of the San Jose Sharks tomorrow. This is going to be a really, really fun week. Lots of social media, lots of things. So we'll start with the hometown San Jose Sharks. I don't know if you guys remember this or know this, but Marc-Edouard Vlasic set a record a couple weeks ago. Do you remember what it was?
Career hits.
No. Well, it might have been that, but it wasn't this.
Oh, career blocks?
Career blocks.
Sorry.
So 2,173 since the shot block thing has been kept.
Just rubber.
And he passed who?
Gio.
Former Leaf Mark Giordano.
That's right.
Which is really exciting. And I think it's interesting that also, it's kind of funny that it's all kismet. The Sharks did the Leafs a huge favor and beat up on the Boston Bruins, because anytime Boston loses, we're happy.
Big of them.
Big of them to do last Saturday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Leafs are in town on Thursday. And the Leafs did make a pretty big signing out of the NCAA. Elite Prospects called this player the best NCAA free agent in years, and his name is Luke Hames. He is a centerman, and had a little bit of a chance to do a little research on him, because I'll be honest with you, that one came out of the blue. I'm not going to pretend that I was like, yeah, I'm a big Luke Hames guy. I know lots.
Oh, I am now.
Well, so
I'm as high on him as I am on Boreavalis.
It seems like they, when they traded Fraser Minton, they knew immediately, we got to do something to replace Fraser Minton or get more people like Fraser Minton. And he seems to be a player. His numbers were okay in the BCHL, like a point-a-game player, but the best players in the BCHL are like 2-point-a-game players, right?
It's difficult and rare to get drafted out of junior A.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then he goes and he plays in the NCAA, does well, and is the epitome of like a late bloomer, right? Yeah. This is a guy that's developed later in life. He's gonna play the rest of the season on a professional tryout, and then he's gonna obviously have his 2 ELC years with the Marlies and the Leafs. From what I understand, this is a guy that might project to be exactly what they lost in Fraser Minton.
I mean, either way, like, listen, I don't want to be the Leaf fan sitting here and going, this college signing is just like the second rounder we traded away.
It's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. I don't want to be the guy to do that, but this is something that you need to do if you're going to be trading away all these picks and all these prospects. And, we got really high on Nikita Grabenkin. Because,
and for good reason.
Yeah, he's a truck out there, and he's a lot of fun, and forecheck, backcheck, paycheck. I keep bringing up Boreavalis, but like, can he bring some of those things? I'm not saying can he be him, can he be better than him? I don't know, and we're not gonna know until he plays professional. But he brings some of those things. Luke Hames, this organization, even with Fraser Minton, was pretty thin up the middle. They basically have Quillen, and I'm trying to think of who else they have full-time up the middle, like Steves, I think, has played up the middle. Abrazizi's played up the middle. It's thin. They needed a player like this.
Jesse?
And I believe this is somebody they've had their eye on for a little bit, because before he went to college, he was at Leafs prospect camp.
2023, he was at development camp,
whatever it is, before you can just bring him on. And obviously he wasn't matured enough then, but now it seems like he's a late bloomer, like you mentioned, and that now his game is warranted this kind of bidding war where everybody kind of wants him. And this is where the Leafs get to exercise their muscle. And they've done this a few times over the last decade or so, where they can just pick guys off and bring them into the organization and show them that, hey, we have the money to pay you whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's free money because it's not against the cap right now. Yeah. And we can give you all of the training that you need. We can bring you into the system, and everything you want, you can get. And I feel like that's where they have the advantage over other teams.
This is their third guy in a month.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. They got a defenseman too. I can't quite remember his name, but yes, they need to be in on these guys. Mm-hmm. And something you can especially with this Leafs administration, like let's say since Treliving joined, you can often
He just got here.
he just got here, but you can often, if they sign someone, you can look through. You play Hockey DB Roulette, which I love to do, or Elite Prospects Roulette, whatever you want to do, and you can find someone who the organization has had their eye on. And Joe Fusco, who's I want to say like a Leaf 7th rounder, is a teammate of his at Dartmouth. So I think very often you can maybe they were there just to scout him. Obviously, he's a really highly touted guy, but he's been on the radar for a few years. So I can't help but wonder if they were watching some Fusco games and they went, you know what, this Luke Ames kid's pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, the prospect system is bare, which is good because they should be trading away all these picks and prospects because they need a win. So they need to go get guys other ways, and this is how you got to do it. So kudos to the Leafs for doing the right thing, I think, in this situation. And then, like, closing the deal. Because you could be in on all these guys and not get them, but they seem to be consistently doing the good thing of closing all of these deals and getting these guys in the system.
Another, like, underrated thing about it, like, we're all wearing San Jose Barracuda jerseys. Like, sometimes when your NHL team isn't very good right now, your AHL team is stacked. But the Sharks or the Barracudas drain to the Sharks has been guys getting called up. The Marlies are having a really good season, and their drain is guys getting traded. And they're having a pretty good season, though. So you want to kind of reward them by going, okay, listen, the NHL team sort of had to drain some of your resources. We're trying to get you some guys back here. So, who knows? Maybe Hames, and I feel bad, I can't remember the defenseman's name. Maybe they can help the team.
Colin Graff was a NCAA signing that San Jose made, and he's in their top 10 prospects. And it sort of becomes, it's interesting, like if you got to think about things like if you're an NCAA free agent, like what are you looking for? Right. And I was trying to think about that this morning. Obviously, you're looking for facilities, you're looking for opportunity, right? So it would make sense. A center would want to come to a team with lacking in centers like that, of course. And then I was thinking about specifically Colin Graff here as a right winger. Like, this is an opportunity in this organization where they got a lot of spots available in the next few years, and there are some rock star prospects here. And you got to go where the opportunity is, right? So it's fun. It's sort of funny that teams, Toronto's like tops or near tops of their division most of this season. There are still opportunities there. Sharks, Barracuda, but the Sharks specifically on the up curve, tons of opportunity there. It's just about finding those places and those guys.
I don't want to light this player up. Like, I don't know if I've mentioned their name in this story before, but very early on in my video making career, this is like pre-podcast. Okay. There was a guy on the Marlies. He had a few cups of coffee with the Leafs, did pretty well. And in the offseason, he was a free agent. And he signs with Detroit. Like, pre-bad Detroit.
Like, they were very good.
Yeah,
and
when he came back to town, like, people were not shy about going, why did you do that? And I'm pretty sure he never played a game for them.
Okay.
I don't think he did. Like, opportunity matters.
Yeah.
Opportunity. A guy we mentioned just in conversation, like, Zach Hyman was a star in the video room. That's how they worded it with Dubas and Keefe. His AHL numbers weren't crazy. And part of me wonders, like, is there like a future 50 goal scorer out there who just never got their opportunity? Because, like, Hyman joined let's be honest, a terrible
team
Leafs organization that had a lot of opportunity in the minors, a lot of eyes on the minors, and he did well there. While there was an added emphasis on it, there were all these, like, blue chippers who he was outperforming in different areas of the game. It resulted in call-ups. He did okay. He kept doing better, and now look at him. I'd say he's done pretty well. So
and he's the epitome of a late bloomer as well, right?
100%. 100%. Like, opportunity matters big time.
Do you think, in specifically in the Leafs situation, guys, it's not something they've traditionally done, draft by position, but they seem to be finally deep at the goaltending prospects position, which has been a total dead zone for 30 years. Literally since, I mean, you had Scrivens and Reimer there for a hot minute, but like it was like Potvin and then nobody. Right? It was like sign a bunch of guys, hope that it works out. I believe there was a Vesa Toskala from San Jose trade in there.
And it helped them be great for like a while. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Sorry, there's some people off camera.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, do the Leafs now look at this and go, okay, well, if it comes down to like a tie or something like that, we'll go to the center.
I mean, they probably should. That's probably how it ought to be. I mean, I think the way it often works, there's a stellar player in junior up the middle. You'll often hear like, yeah, but they don't project to be a center in the NHL. But you can make them one. Like, well, what if you get lucky, right? So,
or what if they work hard? Yeah,
like draft a center, and worst case, they can probably figure out wing. But geez, look in recent years, like Cowan's probably their top prospect. Matthew Nice nailed it. So you still probably want to pick best player available regardless of position. It would just be lovely, though, if that player happened to be a center.
I think across pro sports, you get in trouble when you draft too much by position, especially in sports like the NHL, where guys don't mature until 3-4 years down the line. Like you're drafting an 18-year-old, and he might not hit the NHL until 21, 22. So who knows where your organization is going to be at that point. And when you're drafting just like, hey, let's take the most talented guy available at this point in the draft, when they get to that position in the NHL, no one's ever like, we have too much talent. We have too much depth at center,
maybe
guys.
The Sharks feel like that
position.
in a couple of years. Maybe they do have too much talent.
We have too much depth at D. It's bad. But like you obviously have your organizational needs, and that's where you kind of focus your scouting to. But when the draft board comes and there's a guy who's more talented and he happens to be a defenseman and you need a center, you probably should go with the more talented guy.
So it's interesting. Before we bring on our first guest here, I want to run down some of the names on the Sharks like depth. Scott Wheeler's basically got them listed as the top.
Joe Thornton,
the top prospects in the entire league. This is the best system that you can find.
It's pretty good,
which is pretty high praise. Obviously, you've got Macklin, but then you've got Will Smith, Sam Dickerson, Yaroslav Askarov, Quentin Musty. Which Quentin Musty does not get enough. Because he's like, how many lists down? Most teams, Quentin Musty is the top guy. I think
that was the guy most Leaf fans that I followed wanted when the Leafs picked Cowan.
Oh.
And then they go off the board, and everyone's like, "Who the hell is this? What did they do? What did they do?" But no, he's doing very well.
Luca Gargoni, Igor Shenishov, I mentioned Colin Graff, and Ethan Cardwell, who we're about to talk to now. Ethan is a really
rock star.
Yeah, absolutely right.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, no question. You're about to meet him. Let's bring him on.
He's Coach Chippy.
Yes. Yeah.
He's Coach Chippy. Yeah, man. Except here.
Hey guys, have you heard of Manscaped's Beard and Balls bundle?
Yeah, you've mentioned it.
Yeah, I have many times.
Did you know that it's got you covered from cheeks to cheeks?
That's actually very clever.
You get it?
Here?
Yeah, cheeks, and you also got some.
Or from like up to down.
Yeah, it's got you covered all the way up and down and down and up.
On your ankles.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's cheeks to cheeks.
Yeah,
cheeks to cheeks. Why would your ankles be? Where are your ankles?
No, but you could also just go this way.
Yeah, cheeks to cheeks.
Or
not cheek. That would be cheek to cheek.
I don't know.
No, you got cheeks up there.
What is this?
Okay, listen. It comes with.
I picked up what they were putting down.
It's time to weed whack, hedge trim, and make sure the lawn is looking manicured for the season. Because nothing says fresh start like a sharp beard, right, Jesse?
Yes.
And more importantly, a properly manscaped lawn. Yes. Right, Steve?
Why did you look at?
Well, you have a lawn. That's all. Join over 12 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and use the code DANGLE for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off, free shipping, promo code DANGLE, manscaped.com. Welcome to the show. An Ontario native. We found one down here. Ethan Cardwell. Now listen, you're from Curtis. It says in your bio, Oshawa.
Yeah.
So we assumed sort of a little mix of both. But like, tell us a little bit about Curtis. Is Curtis like a little bit elevated Oshawa, like better than Oshawa?
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't love it when people throw out Oshawa.
We're gonna talk about elite prospects. Then they got to get the right
Hockey DB as well.
Yeah.
No, somebody needs to do so. I was born in Oshawa though.
Okay.
So I went to the Oshawa Hospital.
Okay.
But then I came over to the good side, Curtis. So, I mean, definitely from Curtis. Don't identify really much with Oshawa, but it is right there.
Wow.
It is.
We had a whole segment ready to go.
That's
Like,
because it's a crappy place.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody really likes it.
They
this
do
guy.
call it the Dirty Schwa for a reason.
Exactly.
Schwallywood. Schwallywood.
what about? Okay, so were you a Jens fan growing up? Were you?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
So I'd go to Jen's games.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, but
it's not like I was pivoting.
Begrudgingly?
Going to Belleville or something like that. No, I went to Jen's games. Yeah.
So listen, I know like there's so much about you I think that people are going to love. First off, you have your own podcast. So let's start there. I mean, this is one of the things that when we came down here, we're like, wow, we got to talk to the guy who's got his own show too.
Yeah.
So tell us about your show, why it started, why you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it started over 2 years ago now, maybe 3 or 4. It might be 4 years now. It's been a while. So basically, COVID, you guys know, it was pretty bad in Ontario. Lockdown,
terrible.
It was like the worst. So
I didn't enjoy it.
no,
personally.
it wasn't a lot of fun.
No.
So I was sitting there, and I was always on FaceTime with my buddies and stuff, just talking about hockey stories, talking about like how their seasons went and like when we're gonna get back and stuff like that. So I just decided, you know what, between me and my co-host Michael Raskin, like we decided it'd be a good idea to. We have so many connections in the hockey world and guys that we've played with. So why not have guys on, be able to do it during COVID to kill some time and see where it goes from there. And it did well for itself. So then we kept doing it for a long time and we're still doing it. We're going to try to ramp it up here. Obviously it's hard during the hockey season when you're on the road and stuff all the time.
It's got a great name though, Showbound.
Yeah, no.
Great name.
Yeah.
We were just starting it as like my kind of crop was headed towards the show. So we're like, we kind of talk about the way up to making it to the National League, and it is fitting name.
Now, Ethan made the National League. You've played 6 games already, and we know you've signed your ELC and all that stuff. But you scored your first goal against the Seattle Kraken in November, and I mean that's got to feel pretty good to just get that out of the way. Can you walk us through that goal? What do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a ton. Seeing videos
Bit of a blur.
helped me remember a little bit, but I just remember we always talk about slashing across the ice hard in this organization. So I'm just cutting across the ice, looking for a little chip out and see what happens from there. And I don't know if their D got a little flat-footed or what might have happened, but I ended up having a little bit of time and space, and he started to close in on me as I was coming over the blue line, and I shot it from a decent ways out, but I felt like I got a good shot on it. And you know what? I was pretty lucky that day. It clipped his glove, so not the prettiest of goals, but and then it dropped over and popped in, and then from there is a complete blackout. Jumped into the glass, going nuts. It was an exciting moment.
What are the guys? Oh, go ahead, Jessica.
Who has the puck and where is it?
I actually have it right now. It's because my parents didn't want to. I think that last time they came, they only had carry-ons, so I didn't want to put it in there with them. It's got a little plaque and everything to it that the Sharks made.
Amazing.
So it's awesome, yeah.
Okay. But that's going to the parents.
Yeah, that'll go
when
to
you
the
get
parents.
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're moving around too much. You might lose that in a box somewhere. Yeah.
I don't want to misplace that one.
Yeah.
Are you one of those guys you remember everyone who was on the ice?
No, that's bad,
Uh-oh.
actually. Now I'm getting called out.
My bad. I thought you were going to go on a run. Like, yeah, all 10 guys.
I mean, I think it was up front. I think it was Sturm and Delandria. On the back end, this is bad. I feel bad. I hope none of the guys that were on are watching. But there's a blackout moment, like I said.
Yeah.
What do they tell you when you get back to the bench? Like, you scored your first. Can you remember that?
Yeah, it's just like a little tap. Hey, congrats, kid. Good job.
That's
Now
awesome.
We got to buckle down and win a game here.
We got a game to play.
Yeah, we got to win. It's not just about you. The show's over.
Exactly.
So yeah, everyone sees the moment and, the huge blackout celebration. What is the first shift after scoring your first goal like? Like, how do you bring it back in?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could play for 3-4 minutes out there. You have so much energy, just like full of adrenaline the rest of the day, really. Like, can't barely sleep that night. Your phone's blowing up and you're still kind of shaking. You're like, really? Did that happen? But no, you got to try to calm yourself down a bit.
Yeah. And obviously this has been a great season for you guys with the CUDA.
Yeah.
And when, I can remember, we obviously grew up Leaf fans in Toronto when the Leafs rebuilt everything in, 14-15 and Matthews, Marner, Nylander came in, whatever. The team to watch was the Marlies.
Right.
And we were going to lots of Marlies games to watch, guys like Nylander and I think Andreas Janssen and Kasperi Kapanen and some of these guys, Zach Hyman, these guys coming up through. What's that like to have that kind of spotlight on you guys? You're going to the playoffs in a few weeks here.
Yeah, it's exciting. Got to buckle down, win these last couple games. I think we got like 11 games left. It's going to be real important here down the stretch. But, we're anywhere from first to sixth right now in the standings. Even seventh is in place. So, I mean, it's wild. So every game matters so much. We got to show up every night. And, to have a spotlight on us, have the fans showing up to games and stuff, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, you're a third-generation pro hockey player. Can you run us through, because that has got to be one of the first. That's amazing. Your grandfather, your father, and now you play. Tell us about their journeys.
Yeah, I mean, my grandfather, I was a Pens fan growing up from Toronto, but a Pens fan because of him. He played for the Penguins, and then he went to the WHA, and he was actually an Oshawa General. So awesome. That's also part of the reason I was a Gens fan growing up. Then my dad came along. He played minor pro, a bunch of teams for probably 8-10 years. His highlight, he won gold with Hockey Canada at the Spangler Cup.
Cool.
In 98, I want to say. And played for Team Canada national team that year. So, then I came along and just been trying to do my best.
Not going so bad. Yeah.
Decent start.
We've had the opportunity to experience San Jose a little, like going from our hotel to the SAP Center and then coming here. And what's it like for you living down here and being in San Jose? Because it's so different from Toronto and Ontario and Canada. Are you enjoying the city?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like we were talking before we went on air, the weather's insane. Just to be able to go outside, like yesterday, 28 degrees Celsius. You're not finding that back home right now. So to be out here, I mean, it's definitely made me a lot softer. I'm real soft. I'll walk out here. It'll be like 7 or 8 degrees Celsius. I'll be freaking out. Like, what's going on?
Right.
Who do I
call
complain
Mother
to?
Nature? Yeah. I put in a call for this one, but no, it's unreal. So,
No, Adam and I were talking. We we're like, we get why people sign in Tampa, in Florida, in California, San Jose.
I too would take millions less. Yeah. Just for the weather. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you were saying that across the street we've got some the university facilities and that sort of thing. San Jose State. You're a big golfer.
Yeah, love golf.
So tell us about. So first off, the driving range across the street is. Do you go there?
I've been a few times. So a guy I grew up playing golf against and my brother played golf against is at San Jose State now. He's from Toronto or Mississauga, I think. And so he's on the team. So he brings me out there the odd time to go hit balls with him and stuff. So it's pretty nice. But hell of a facility.
And you can golf any day here.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
Which is amazing.
We get a lot of nice golf in here. You guys having Potsy on next to. He's a good player. So him and I get out a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
You ever broke a windshield?
No, one window of a house though.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Not a windshield, but actually at Oshawa Golf Club took somebody's right into their kitchen table. they were gone for a couple weeks actually when it happened, and I noticed that the window was not getting fixed, and I'm like, what's going on? And then a week later I see the patches and they said, they came home, there's birds in their house.
No.
So it wasn't my finest moment. Shank off a tree and then into a window.
Wow. Did you have to pay for it?
No, golf course insurance covered it.
Okay.
Pays a membership dues, so I guess that feeds into it.
Right.
Got away with one.
So you were the CUDA Rookie of the Year last year. You scored a lot of goals. I think you came within a few goals of the franchise record for a rookie, right? Is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you think so, yeah. It's nice to be able to be like, I guess maybe. But this year, you've sort of transitioned your game. You're a playmaker now, a little bit. I mean, we're seeing a 34 assists already?
Something like that.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Is that transition on purpose? Or was it to show, hey, I can do both?
I mean, I just can't score.
Got a little cold?
So, I mean,
okay, sore spot. Maybe I shouldn't have brought that up.
Exactly.
Scouting report. He's
just
soft.
throws
He
the
can't
mic
score.
down, walks away.
Added to the list of laundry, eh? No, it's been nice to share the wealth this year, pass it around a bit. But definitely. I think for me, I'm still getting the shots, still getting the opportunities. So that's why I'm not getting too worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just haven't got the breaks or the bounces or haven't finished some opportunities that I probably would have in the past. But you know what? As long as I'm still helping the team in any fast way that I can, and we're winning.
Yeah.
then we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I probably should have run that by you before the interview.
that's
you know,
cool.
just out you like that.
You complimented me though. You said
Well,
almost
I
like
think it's
that's
great.
all right. Yeah, we'll take that.
So I guess for you now, like, you know, obviously you're going to get through this season and that sort of thing, but this is an organization with loads of potential, loads of energy, like excitement and that sort of thing. And when the Sharks were in town with the Leafs a couple weeks ago, we were on the Amazon broadcast in Canada, and we were kind of down. We saw, you know, Macklin and Will, and you could feel there's an excitement around this organization. What do you think your next step is to be a part of it at the next level?
Yeah, just working hard every day, you know, doing the right things. You know, they got Macklin, they got Will. They have all the talent in the world up there. So they're going to need a guy who's going to come in and play a lower role to start and kind of earn his stripes through penalty killing and stuff like that. So I think being on the defensive side of the puck, you know, playing hard, finishing hits, doing the little things that everybody talks about all the time but doesn't show up on the score sheet.
Yep.
I think those are the type of things that can help me get my foot in the door.
And we got to ask about his roommate too.
Yeah, he scored.
yeah.
He scored in Toronto.
He did.
You guys were,
Okay.
Hometown game, first game there. Yeah, he scored.
And that's Jack Thompson, right?
That's right.
Jack
Yeah.
Thompson.
So
We were
he grew up in Curtis with you down the street, right?
Yeah, we lived like 5 houses down.
And he's your roommate.
Yeah, so now he's my roommate here, and we went to Sweden together too during the COVID year. So we've done it all kind of.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's been nice.
How excited were you when you found out he was getting traded here?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was on the road in Texas, I believe, and we were out for dinner with a bunch of the boys, and he kept blowing up my phone, and I'm like, dude, I'm at dinner. Like, don't call me. And he's like, no, but I need to get a hold of you. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. So I pick it up. I'm like, what? What do you want? And he's like, I got traded. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah, funny. And he's like, no, like, no shit. Like, I'll be in Texas tomorrow. And then, yeah, sure enough.
That's great.
That was
That's
great.
great.
Yeah, it was a lot of excitement.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was going to say, like, listen, this is all great. Professional hockey is a super impressive side gig. What has been your favorite moment podcasting?
Okay. Yeah, we'll get back on track.
Yeah. Come on.
Your best
All
interview.
right, you scored a couple goals. Talk about podcasts.
I mean, my favorite moment podcasting, if you guys have the time to go back and watch, I had a goalie I played with named Ivan Prosvetov.
We know him.
Okay, you guys know Ivan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I played with Ivan in Saginaw, and the amount of stories that guy has that are just bizarre, like, they're off the charts, some of these stories. Like, just quickly, like, he didn't steal. He took his billet's moped and was ripping it on the freeway to practice in an all-red Russian tracksuit to practice in the OHL. And
Sounds a little bit like Stoll.
Yeah, it's just the tip of the iceberg for me. So, I mean, a ton of funny stories. But yeah, there's a ton of moments. I'm sure you guys, it's hard to remember when you get put on the spot, but so many laughs, so many good times.
Awesome.
Why the bright red tracksuit?
It's just how he rolls, you know, from Russians, eh?
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I believe you got a bus to catch, so we gotta
wrap.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Let's
do it.
thanks for your time, man.
Appreciate it.
So this morning we woke up to, by the way, Ethan's awesome, eh?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
He was just awesome. We are going to have another interview, by the way, with Andrew Poturalski a little bit later. He's the current leader in the AHL in scoring, so it's sort of a big deal. Yeah, but we woke up this morning to Jake Chychrun signing a gigantic extension with the Washington Capitals. You're going to have to explain that because I didn't even know what that was.
Maybe I'm just too chronically on TikTok, but I've seen all these Capitals, like, fan cams of Ovechkin and Chychrun in the tunnel before games. And for some reason they just go, bands make a dance, bands make a dance. I think it's because Chychrun wears a headband sometimes.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. But it's just weird seeing 39-year-old Russian Ovechkin going, bands make a dance, like, just so passionately.
Well, he was probably in his 20s when that song came out.
He probably
So,
was.
I don't know if it's that unusual.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was probably like his prime. Like us.
Is that dad rap?
Yeah,
It is now.
You're showing you're old right now.
I know.
No.
It happens quick.
No, give me some more flow. Give me some Flow Rida. Like, what else you got?
Hey,
I saw
He's a
Flo
good
Rida
artist.
in a concert once.
yeah,
Him, Flo Rida
at a Walmart in Alaska.
No, it might as well have been. It was at a place called the Stampede Corral, which all of our Flames listeners will know. That was the original Flames barn,
Okay.
and that's where the organ player was in the crowd. And
sick.
my grandfather's season tickets to the Flames were right next to them. So he used to because he played the organ as well. And so he loved to talk to the organ player, and they'd compare
While they
organ
were
notes.
playing?
Well, not while they were playing. I think
Just piss
he
'em
had
off,
respect for the
piss 'em right
musicianship.
No,
Hey.
like that era where it's like Juicy J and
Yeah.
Flo Rida, and even like late Luda, but kind of, and then like Usher's Next Peak,
Yes.
and then like
Bieber, new
Miley
Bieber.
Cyrus
Right.
bangers, like that.
Oh.
That's what I'm.
That-
So that's like 15 years now.
Well, yeah, good
That's
Kid,
pretty
Mad
old.
City era, right? Like
That's
that was
pretty old,
So
Steve.
not what's your fantasy, Luda? You're talking Splash Waterfalls, Luda?
No, I don't even.
like late.
I don't even know.
Late.
Yeah, next Luda.
Oh, you're showing your youth.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
T-Pain's era was already over.
T-Pain. Yeah, it's probably over.
T-Pain.
Yeah.
By the way, when I know we're gonna get to Jake
You've
Chychrun,
done zero Jake
Jake
Chychrun
Chychrun.
talk.
but we got in
Oh,
the
yeah.
car. We got in the
Oh,
car.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like it here. Bartender started playing on the radio. I'm like,
Oh.
yeah,
That's an oldie.
it is an
They
oldie.
were
I
playing the
know.
oldies on the
and
radio.
I love that song. Anyway, so let's get into it. Jake Chychrun, $9 million, 8 years. $9 million per is what I mean. They're not paying him $1.5 million a year.
He's getting robbed. He didn't read it closely enough, and now he's got to play. He's got to play.
Yeah, he signed it. That's the
And
rule.
he's screwed up.
Yeah.
Like,
He's had a career year in Washington. I think the system works for what he's going to be, or for what he is, excuse me, because he's at the peak of his career, so not what he's going to be. But it's also, I mean, he's had a really tough career in terms of teams that he's played with, right? He played with the Coyotes for most of it.
he scored
Got into
18 goals with them in an injury-shortened season.
That's crazy. And he
Crazy.
got into one playoff series with them and then played a season, 2 seasons with the Senators.
Not
Mhm.
long.
Not long. And they, obviously struggled throughout that, going through their transitions to new ownership and new general manager and all of that. And there was, messing up the first round picks and all that stuff. Like, it was a
Yeah.
disaster.
And he was a part of the mass exodus of Ottawa that happened in like the 23 season with like DeBrincat and all of that little controversy.
Yeah.
And then
He
they
had-
turned everything around quickly.
I want to say 60 points last year, his final season with the Sens. Or
Mhm.
like, this guy's a really
41.
He has a 60-point season.
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. And this is his second 18-goal season. He's probably going to pot 20 as a defenseman. Like, he's a bit of there's not a ton of Jake Chychruns out there, and that's why he's making $9 million. Like, it's not just the offensive production. He's 6'2", 205. Like,
And with an organization that's pretty well run.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they've got a stock cupboard. They play a crazy system. They are running away with that division.
and having the most fun.
They're
There's
loving
no
it.
way he's ever been on a team having this much fun.
No.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Well, imagine going from the Coyotes to I'm playing with Ovi and he's chasing Gretzky's record.
Well,
and
from Ottawa too.
From Ottawa, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Ottawa too. I didn't want to slam Ottawa. They
We
just
can-
got out of
we can say
the
this
doldrums. I feel bad.
we can say this now, like as a time reference. Late stage Coyotes.
Late
Yes.
stage
He
Coyotes.
played for late stage Coyotes,
and I would say,
and that was bad.
and then transition year for Ottawa, which was
Yes.
rough.
Mhm.
And sorry,
And so
Jessica.
he doesn't have a 60-goal season this season. Actually,
Point.
point season.
Oh.
This season of 43 points is actually his career high.
Was I looking at his penalty minutes?
Yeah,
one day,
you
maybe?
see his-
Oh no!
He has 60 pims
But he
last
did.
year.
Oh
18 goal
no!
He did.
That's funny.
That's okay.
They got to stop putting them next to each other.
That's okay.
But I
Ah,
think
shoot.
what's interesting is like I think Dom's model had it at like he's like it seems a little rich, but with the rising cap, maybe it's not that big of a deal. I think it's probably right on the nose, and that this is going to be a steal in 2 to 3 years. And this
Mhm.
is a guy who I think directly replaces John Carlson as John Carlson's career winds down. And I'm not saying John Carlson's going anywhere, but to say that, John Carlson is a youthful guy anymore, like he's of our era, right?
Well, yeah.
And
But
so
then you have a future that is Jake Chychrun and Rasmus Sandin.
which is amazing.
That's okay.
And Sandin's on a great extension as well.
Really good year. Yeah, just good everything. What's going wrong in Washington? Like, you know how there have been a few teams where you can't even count on one hand, like the things that have gone right for them. Blackhawks, like there are
Late
some,
stage Coyotes.
the late stage Coyotes,
Yeah, yeah.
the Buffalo Sabres. Like
Yeah.
there are some teams where nothing has gone right for them. What's gone wrong for the Caps?
But you know what I think though, it's been the one thing you have to say about the Caps is it's really good drafting,
Mhm.
right? Really, really good.
The Protas brothers
Like, they got both of them.
are going to terrorize the NHL when the younger one gets there.
Yeah.
They,
Terrorize.
do they not have the other Hudson? as well.
Yes,
Lane Hudson's brother.
We've done this before. They
Yes, we
have
have.
Cole Hudson,
Yeah.
who they got with a second-round pick that they got from the Sabres for Beck Mallenstein.
Yes, and
Oh, my God.
Lane Hudson also fell way too far in the draft, and I assume Cole Hudson's going to be the same thing. And like you mentioned, like their drafting is big deal, and the signings and trades. Like
Well, and I was going to say calculated risk. Jeff.
yes, the goaltenders having it's the ridiculous amount of little money they're spending on their goaltending. Those are two amazing signings, and the defense that they have right now is through the Chychrun trade, the Matt Roy
Raw chicken, actually.
right Chychrun trade.
Raw milk.
Say
Raw
that
milk.
20 times fast.
Yeah.
Like Ferravari's great.
Yeah.
TVR's awesome to have there. Matt Roy, and then obviously they've had Carlson forever.
So it's interesting, you mentioned that, like the fact that they took risk. Like 2 years ago, if I say to you guys, Charlie Lindgren, that guy's going to be a stud, and he's going to sign a big long extension with them. He's going to get them to the playoffs last year, which is what he did.
Tandem of Thompson and Lindgren. You know what I would have assumed, that Vegas had some injuries and Lindgren
Got waived.
ended up in Vegas.
Yes, 100%.
That's what I would have assumed. But like one of the better change of scenery trades in recent memory, like the Capitals and the Kings with the Kemper Dubois deal.
Worked for both.
Who's upset about that trade?
Nobody.
That one's going really well, and an underrated one because he had a down season and kind of also makes a lot of money. Andrew Mangiapane.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what's going wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Ovechkin went down with an injury when he was on the middle of a hot streak, and that
Broke his leg. Is back in 6 weeks.
Yeah, I said an injury because he was out for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He broke his friggin' leg.
Yep.
And that was the moment I'm like, all right, here comes the dip. A little bit of no, it never really came.
Yep.
There's
What if
a reason they're in contention for the President's Trophy.
What if I added on to that best team in the league? Depending on if you think
I think they're better than the Jets.
the fraud over there in
I think they're
Winnipeg
better than the
is
Jets.
for real or not.
I do.
So-
I don't think I wouldn't put Hellebuck on fraud watch quite like you do.
No, you wouldn't. No, I thought everybody
He's
did.
my favorite goalie.
Okay,
in the league.
how many goalies do the Caps have that are better than Hellebuck? Who do they got in the minors?
Yeah, no, like just how many do they have in the organization? I think that's the number. Yeah.
Signed goaltenders.
So if I told you best team in the league, second best team in the league, wherever you want to look at it, based on the standings, Dylan Strom's their number one center,
yeah.
making
man.
$5 million. Like that is an
That was another risk.
unbelievable steal,
That was
and
another
nobody thought that was going to happen. But
No.
this Strome projected or didn't project to be this, but he is that, and that's great scouting. That's taking a risk, and like kudos to them for the organization for having all of these guys perform so high above what we thought they'd be.
And early season, who carried my fantasy team, Connor McMichael.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Another draft
Yeah,
pick.
he was
Yeah,
hot.
another guy where you're like, where did you come from? This is crazy.
Ajax Pickering Panthers, baby.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
That's right.
And then at the end of all of it, you got Ovi, who's going to score 70 goals
Yeah.
every
Sorry,
single year.
Raiders.
Raiders.
Pickering Panthers, Ajax Pickering Raiders.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
there's also
Yeah,
the
Novi's never
Wildcats,
going to stop.
The would-be
you know?
Wildcats.
So there you go.
Yeah, I
He'll
think
play
there's.
till he's 40, 50.
I think that there is enough there where you can pretty safely say that the Capitals are the best team in the Eastern Conference. Like no question. Chychrun re-signing at the number that he re-signed at, to be their best defenseman, right? Because Matt Roy's a great player, and obviously
There's another one.
John Carlson is and Jesse mentioned him earlier. John Carlson has obviously been a great Capital for a long time through good times and bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like winning begets winning. And it's like, hey, when we're winning and here's an opportunity to sign a core player, he wants to be here. Let's be honest, Jake Chychrun probably makes way more on, he could probably
In the open market?
I think he gets over
At this
10.
point, yeah.
Well, 9.5 even or 10. I think I don't think that's out of the range, because when you go to free agency, there's bidding wars. Right shot defenseman moves the puck, almost 20 goals already. When does that ever become available?
We were talking about
What were we talking
the
about?
cap going up. Sorry, I'm still a little jet lag, short circuited there. We were talking about the cap going up and why, if you're a star player, would you sign a long deal? There's no reason to.
Yep. I still think Mitch should do a bridge. Like, it's in his best interest to sign a 2-year contract right now, but that's a whole other conversation.
but like,
I'm with you, man. I think you're right.
any client,
Mhm.
like, okay, what do you want? You want security and situation? Yeah, then of course sign the long-term deal. If you want to maximize your dollars,
You want money?
you sign
Money?
2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 3 max. max. So like when I see that number, I'm like, yeah, 9's a lot. But the cap going up, it's not just that the cap is going up. You have him fixed for 9 years.
Mhm.
I don't expect him to be
Jake Chychrun this level, but you think that 9 million in 8 years will be significantly further down. What are you paying for that position?
Cap is 9 today.
Well,
It's a little
today,
over. It's a little over 10.
yeah, 10
right?
or 11%,
10 or 11%,
and next year it'll be closer to 9%.
So later in his career, when it's 8-7%.
So this is what I'm actually kind of fascinated by this, and I think if you're a stats geek and you want to do something cool, I've always thought a project would be, what is the ideal percentage of cap per position? So if you've got a top line center and you have a legitimate top line center, let's say you have a perfect NHL team, right? How much money do you want to be allocating to a top center, a top right shot, a top left shot, a top goalie? How do you, and every team looks at that sort of differently, but I would kind of love to know the science behind that.
I think it's too subjective because it depends on how you build your team, right? Like, do you have Dylan Strome at your first line center, or do you have Austin Matthews?
Right.
The Caps aren't actually a great example.
They're a terrible example.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
If you look at them just on paper, you'd be like, oh, they're spending money like idiots. And like even Matt Roy made a lot of money.
Yeah, his contract's like still going.
Mangiapane, like you don't sign him to that amount of money in free agency. Strome just decided my career is going to take off now. You know what it is? I think you had it right when you said winning begets winning.
Yes.
They're winning in the front office. They're identifying players. Whoever they're, we talk about amateur scouting, and theirs is obviously very good with their draft record. Their pro scouting is cracked.
Yeah.
They're
underrated, something that nobody talks about. Can you explain for people that don't understand a pro scout's role, what it is?
Well, in all my experience as a pro scout.
No, you don't have to be a pro scout
I know.
to explain the job description.
He's kidding.
Could you put it on LinkedIn is what I'm asking. Give me a LinkedIn description.
I'm going to put it on LinkedIn after the show. No, they're great at going around the league and identifying players that A, are good, B, fit them, C, and this is the most important part and the hardest part to pull off, the guy on the other end of the phone is willing to give you.
Right. Finding a guy that might not be a fit anymore, needs a new home.
Yeah. You know how many teams in the NHL are good at identifying good hockey players? 32. Like 32.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's finding the players that could be better.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Could be better.
And you can acquire.
Yes.
Yeah. Like we've had a great example this season in Mikko Rantanen.
Mm-hmm.
The fall off from Colorado to Carolina was stark, and it's improving in Dallas, but he's still finding it. The Capitals have done this unreal job the last 2 or 3 years of making trades where you go, oh, okay, and you just move on with your day, and then you look at Christmas and you're like, oh, that dude who I didn't care about is 25, 30 points.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I look at their trade deadline, and the only guy they brought in was Beauvillier, who is a suitcase, right? He's been
complete suitcase.
He's been in like 6 teams in the last 5 years.
A future 40 goal scorer.
I'm just gonna say, like, he's up for a big season, I think, maybe, or big postseason.
If there was ever a team you were going to have faith in, it'd probably be them. And I don't want to make it seem like their pro scouting is what's carrying them. They're amateur.
It's a combo.
It's 100% a combo. And I called out. Because these two teams their fates are always going to be tied, or they're always going to be compared to each other. The Capitals, when they were struggling in the playoff picture, and the Penguins when they
were no, he did it. I'm
sorry. In the same range.
I'm sorry, everybody from Pittsburgh.
It's me, not
oh
Adam.
No.
When they were in the same range, when they were separated by like 3 points or something like that in the standings. Well, they're essentially the same team in terms of the regular season. The Capitals drafted well. The Penguins, not They didn't.
I'm just going to say it for all the Pittsburgh Penguins fans out there. I think that was unnecessary. When you're talking about the Washington Capitals, it does not mean you have to bring up the Pittsburgh Penguins.
You can't talk about the Capitals without talking about the
Yes,
Penguins.
you can. You literally can.
Every Caps
You can
fan
have
listening to this
Oh my god!
just cut you off like Jorge Masvidal, and they were like, it was super necessary.
Yeah, they think it is. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. You don't have to bring them up.
No, I think you do. I think you do.
Well, not anymore.
Right.
They're not the same anymore.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Yeah, like Crosby is since
Here we go.
insane. Ovi is going for the all-time scoring record, but the two teams, they're not comparable anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all.
Kyle Dubas runs the
I didn't say no.
Hey, baby,
I'm sorry, but who runs the team? Who made himself general manager?
No. Wait.
No.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say the part that I'm highlighting with the amateur scouting, Dubas can for one more draft play the I just got here card.
Oh, I don't think
Actually,
so.
no, not one more draft. You're right. I think it.
Wes Clark can play the I just got here card.
No, well, because now they have all these picks, but the years leading into Dubas
We're bad and poorly managed, and you're
Tumbleweeds.
absolutely right. Terrible.
Tumbleweeds.
And part of the criticism of him is really criticism of Burke and Hextall, right?
It was not a great regime.
No.
It was
He
not
was
a great
handed a
regime.
mess and promptly doubled down.
That's
disappointed.
the gig.
I'm disappointed in you two gentlemen.
Why?
We didn't have to go there.
I think we did. Mike
Yeah,
Greer,
you did.
I'll
It
just
was
say this.
super
Mike Greer would
necessary.
never. He would have never.
No.
Mike
Yeah,
Greer
that's
would have
true.
never.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a great job. Just in case he's still here, I think Mike Greer is kicking ass.
Can you say the San Jose Sharks are a perfect organization?
The San Jose Sharks are a perfect organization. Blemishless. Excellent in all facets, including echo.
It is pretty. I've never been in a professional hockey rink that's this empty right now. It's kind of neat. Like it's like this gets to be just ours.
I saw the Marlies their first few years.
No.
Oh, wow.
Of course, that was during the game, but
Can I just say, like, we walked in here and we're like, oh, so this is what an AHL rink looks like.
Should
this is
look like.
gorgeous.
It's new.
Should.
It should,
It's
yeah.
gorgeous.
And here-
We've
wait,
seen what
here,
they
wait,
can
wait,
look
wait.
like.
not a trace of horse ass.
Yeah.
Not a single trace.
For anybody that
Well,
doesn't
yeah,
know,
my God.
the Toronto Marlies play next to the Toronto Police Horse Barn. So you are literally dodging road apples on the way to,
It smells like horse shit.
yeah, it stinks. It does stink. Now,
It does. You
So-
get off the train, waft.
I can't wait to become the most popular podcast in Washington because of that segment, though. I just say, like, I think Russian Machine Never Breaks going to do a whole piece on it.
Just butter them up.
yeah.
Butter 'em up.
Butter up the home crowd.
That's
it's
right.
great to be back in Springfield.
All right.
And Pittsburgh, in this analogy, is Shelbyville.
Now, we do need to talk about an unbelievable goal that was disallowed somehow in the NHL last night, but we're not going to do it yet. First, we're going to talk to the AHL's leading scorer. Let's bring on Andrew. All right, welcoming Andrew Poturalski onto the Steve Dangle Podcast. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. Two-time Calder Cup winner. Obviously, you also have led the league in scoring a couple of times. This year is one of them, right? You're still leading the league in scoring?
Yeah.
No big deal, right?
No
big deal. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Sorry, am I embarrassing you now?
No.
Well, Adam, you also set the franchise record for goals.
Yeah. So listen, pretty accomplished guy, pretty accomplished career.
You
And
got
you
any science fairs you won when
Yeah.
you were a kid? Also, we can add that in there. Like it's not long enough. Adam.
Yeah.
It's just not long enough.
this is an exciting time to be a member of this organization, top down. For you, what have you gotten out of it being here? A lot of young energy, a lot of fun guys. We just talked to Ethan. What's this season and this experience been like for you?
It's been crazy. I kind of gave the guys a bunch of crap last year playing against them. Our team was 8-0 against them, so it was always fun. But just to see where they were at, now to see where we are here, it's really cool to be a part of that. See the organization start to come up, all the excitement, the fans. I mean, a lot of times this place was pretty dead when we'd play here last year, but our game on Sunday was bumping, and it's just cool to see the excitement starting to come back in the Bay Area. A lot of young talent up and down on both teams, and definitely really exciting to be a part of. And it's fun for me to come in and help turn it around a little bit.
Well, and the fan reaction going up, that's that Poturalski bump, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They just follow you around.
Yeah.
Jesse?
Oh, I just want to know about your impression of just the facilities here, because we've gotten like mini tours behind the scenes. We've been walking around and everybody just keeps bragging about how new it is and how great it is. From the player perspective, like, is it truly that good in comparison to the rest of the league?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, obviously you see this as brand new. Everything's great here, fun to play. And then our facilities are great. They treat us really well. I am coming from Coachella Valley. That was brand new and really nice facilities out there. But I mean, compared to a lot of other teams in the league and a lot of the buildings that we play in, it's top notch. So we're pretty spoiled in that sense, and we take advantage of it.
So there's a story floating around. I know that I don't think your family had any direct connection to hockey. So you're from upstate New York, and from what I understand, you somehow wanted to start playing. And I don't know what that moment was for you. So I want to ask you that. But the second part of that question is, I hear that you wanted to be a goalie and that your parents looked at the price tag for goalie of the year and they're like, yeah, how about you just be a player? It seems that they made the right call for you. But what was it that got you into hockey, and how did you convince your parents this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so my parents, they're huge sports fans, no matter what sport it is. My mom played Division I softball. My dad played sports all throughout high school, and just huge sports family. Like, everything that's on, we're always watching. But the Sabres were a huge reason why. And kind of their prime time was when I was growing up, and Dominic Hasek was the big guy who got me.
We're from Toronto, so he killed us.
Yeah,
that. It just broke our hearts. I just want you to know that.
So funny story with that is, obviously we're huge Sabres fans, watch every game. I loved Hasek. He was the reason kind of why I got into it. And my mom and we would play mini sticks and play, and eventually she started calling me Dom, or I was calling myself Dom and whatever. And now the story goes that she would call me from the basement to come upstairs for dinner or something, and I wouldn't respond unless she called me Dom. So she would Andrew, dinner's ready, and I wouldn't go up. But once she said, hey, Dom, dinner's ready, I'd come flying up the stairs. So he was the big reason why I got into it. I always thought it was fun putting all the pads on and everything like that. But I think the thrill of scoring goals kind of took over. So,
yeah.
Definitely a little more fun.
Well, there's so many surreal things about being a pro hockey player, but being a Sabres fan, your GM now is a guy who you probably would have watched growing up. In Mike Greer. What was that first conversation with him like?
It's just talking about Buffalo, and it's definitely cool. When he was there, it was when they were really good, and even Ryan Miller's been on the ice with us a couple times. I've been in the building where it's a playoff game and the whole building's chanting Ryan Miller, and it's gives me goosebumps. I remember that when I was a kid. So just to reminisce about that a little bit, it's pretty cool, and be on the ice and see those guys day to day that you grew up coming and watching and idolizing, and being part of that organization now is pretty cool.
I imagine it's like a wealth of knowledge you get from them, because we saw Jumbo walking around here, and just the alumni that come through and help you guys out. I imagine they just have the most amount of stories and knowledge to pass on to you guys.
Yeah, we had a skill skate earlier in the year that it was Patty Marlowe, Jumbo, and Mike Ricci.
Wow. A classic Shark.
Scarborough legend.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, those three are on the ice running the skill skate. And I'm like, how many other teams have this many NHL games running their skill skates? So it's pretty cool to have those guys. And not only just their knowledge on the ice, they're all awesome guys. And you can talk to them about anything, golf, restaurants, the area, life in general. So really cool to have that around here.
How often does Ethan Cardwell bug you to listen to his podcast?
Surprisingly, not too much. With that kind of personality, I thought he'd be pumping it a little bit more, but he's pretty good about it.
He's pretty confident.
Oh
man, yeah.
I mean, if you were to guess and not knowing him, how many years pro would you think he is?
Oh, 4 or 5 years. Yeah, something like he's just he feels like he's been there forever.
2 or 10 years. So he's as far back as it gets on the bus. He's doing everything. You would think he's played in the league 10 years. I mean, he came on first before me. I got a family to get home too.
Yeah,
we got a road trip to get on, but he's first up. So he's not lacking in the confidence department, but he's an awesome teammate. He's a lot of fun to be around, and keeps the room light for sure.
Being from upstate New York, like we know. Actually, you probably know more because you guys get way more snow. You know what winter feels like.
Oh, yeah.
You know a good winter. What's it like not to have one? Because we're kind of jealous.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, if you go through the run of cities I've played in, I've I've had it pretty good without a
Charlotte.
true winner. Charlotte, San Diego, Coachella.
Coachella.
San Diego too, yeah.
Yeah, so I had one in Chicago there, one winner, but I don't know how I'm going to do it once hockey's over. But
I mean, you don't have to. That's the great part, right? You could just stay. What if you simply stayed?
Yeah, you're like a grown-up, man. Like, you can just stay.
Like your coach was a player here like 4 or 5 years ago, right? So, I mean, that could be you.
I know. I want my kids to grow up with
the ice rinks,
the blue collar mentality.
Oh,
I like
wow.
My son's about to be 3 years old, and he's still never seen snow. So,
Wow.
I mean, he's been in Coachella, I've been here. So,
is he hockey obsessed or is he into other things?
he's getting into it a lot.
Yeah?
He's coming to the games. He's obsessed with Frenzy, our mascot. So, he's starting to like it.
Frenzy's a great mascot, by the way. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So okay, listen, you're like a leader on a team that is really young, really full of energy. How do you keep guys kind of focused? Like, it's obviously, it's probably got to be a bit of a challenge, right? Because, I remember being in my early 20s and it was a lot of fun, but I don't think focus was a part of my mentality at that point.
I think it's just about competing, and it's a job now, and guys know that, they understand. And certainly this year it's been a lot more competitive in our organization, and guys are fighting for everything, whether it's opportunity with the Sharks, more playing time with us, or whatnot. So everybody's playing for something, and I think that's what guys are starting to learn. And I think that's what us vets kind of got to, show these guys that, it's not just fun and games. Like, you are playing for your job now, and you got to understand that. But our room's been a lot of fun, and I think we compete in a way that, makes it fun, no matter who comes in the room. If they did something funny on the golf course or something, everybody's giving them a hard time, and we keep it light. But, once the lights turn on, you kind of got to compete and get going. And especially right now, it's crunch time where we are at in standings, and playoffs coming up. So,
who's a better golfer, you or Ethan?
His handicap's better.
Is it?
I'll say I've never lost money to him on the course.
Oh, wow.
That's something.
Sounds like you
That's a
think
big
cracks
drop.
under pressure. I don't know.
Stop.
When it
cracks under pressure, can't score. Ethan,
We're just outing him here.
Hollywood handicap.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we so appreciate your time. We know you got to get home and catch a bus and everything, but I wanted to say best of luck the rest of the way, and it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for making time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So last night, the New York Islanders and Columbus Blue Jackets faced off. Probably the most important game of the season for either team. This is a playoff race. It's a playoff claw your eyeballs out sort of race in the East. And the Isles appeared to have scored with 9 seconds to go in regulation. And I'm going to read from my notes here. Goal
to take the lead.
Take the lead 4-3. It was tied.
Which means they get 2 points. Columbus gets none.
Which is great because it's like, put your face in it.
Yeah.
Swirly,
And that would have put them in a tie for the second wildcard spot with Montreal.
Yes. Now Montreal's got a game in hand.
Sure, but that doesn't change what would have happened.
Yeah.
The goal was, strangely, immediately waved off by the ref. So that was number one.
I didn't understand that at
And then
all.
the Situation Room reviewed it, and they said, no, the ref was right, and it was goaltender interference. Now, for anybody that hasn't seen the clip yet, I'm sure you have, but I'm going to just sort of describe it, and hopefully producer Drew back home can put some screen grabs in. But essentially what we have here is Kyle Palmieri is behind the net in the corner, rings the puck out to one of his defensemen, and then is moving towards Elvis Merzlikins, who's the Columbus goaltender, and trying to gain position in front of him, but not in the crease area. Elvis Merzlikins reaches out, pushes Kyle Palmieri, and is moved a little by Kyle Palmieri, but at no point is Palmieri in the crease, and they still ruled that Elvis Merzlikins was basically taken out of position or impeded is the word they use.
I think everyone's missing the point with that.
Give it to me.
So it's not the shove, although I have a problem with that, and we'll talk about that. It's the skates. So their skates clash.
Right.
And if you're a goalie, I think that's the part that matters the most. What I have a problem with...
But they didn't clash in the crease. I think that's important.
I've never quite seen it so perfectly on the line. Palmieri was going to skate through the blue paint.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been impossible for him not to at least clip the corner.
But he's allowed to do that.
So, he's still in the white paint. Merzlikins is still in the blue. And to me, their skates clash right on the red. His toe connects with Palmieri's his heel, and it knocks him off balance. So it was funny in the replay. They're talking about, well, Merzlikins had time to get set. What about Palmieri?
Yeah.
He had time to get set
Yeah.
after getting knocked off balance and tip it perfectly
Yeah.
into the net. Merzlikins, by the way, also, I think this should be a factor on goalie interference calls. Would he have stopped it? No. He got
But that's not what the rule is.
I know.
You're
It's
right,
not.
It should be, but that's not how it's written right now.
Not how it's written.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts,
That's
Yeah.
right.
we'd all have a gumdrop Christmas.
Is that how it
I
goes?
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
not.
Is that actually the saying? I've never heard the second
No,
half
I
of
don't.
that.
I don't.
Did you
know.
just make
I
that
think
up?
that's.
Okay.
I think
So
that's how it goes.
here's
I
what's
don't
the
know.
explanation,
So
right?
from the situation room, what a lot of people are doing with the goalie interference is they're saying, well, here's what it should be.
Right.
That doesn't matter.
No.
All that matters is what it is.
Mhm.
Explanation. Video review supported the referee's call on the ice that New York's Kyle Palmieri impaired Elvis Merzlikins' ability to play his position in the crease prior to the goal. The decision was made in accordance with Rule 69.1,
Nice.
which states in part that goals should be disallowed only if, one, an attacking player, either by his positioning or by contact, impairs the goalkeeper's ability to move freely within his crease or defend his goal. I just don't think that's what happened.
I understand why they made the decision.
I understand.
Because it's
but-
if you guys want to look
I'm
here,
looking over there. I'm
there's
seeing this freeze
there's a freeze frame here, a screenshot of Palmieri and Merzlikins, their skates high five.
Yes.
They essentially they touch the outside of them. They barely touch, but they high five. And I think if you touch the goaltender in a way where your skates touch, and he makes a big deal of it because that's
he
what
didn't.
but he shoves him.
Yeah.
That's a
shoves
big
him later.
deal.
Shoves him later.
That's
Yeah.
that's literally what
That's
what
where I was
comes up.
mentioning, right?
They high five skates. He shoves them. He makes a big deal of it. And goaltenders always make a show of when they're touched. And I understand why they went with the decision because you can't touch the goaltender.
So
But you can actually. In hockey, people bump all the time, and people. Goaltenders get bumped all the time.
But-
And by the way, look at the time on that.
But Palmieri skated through his own free will to the goaltender and made contact with him. Then a goal was
is Palmieri's
scored.
just supposed to give him a wide berth? The crease
You're-
is the line.
No, but yes,
the crease
yes.
is the line.
No, but Merzlikins is in the crease. His full body is in the crease.
So, okay,
and when
so
their
anything
skates,
that happens after this is automatically a no.
Oh, no,
Is
but
this like an
a
offside?
goal was scored. So a goal is immediately scored after they high five skate. So I understand how the situation room got from one to the other. That's all I'm saying.
So I guess my point, Jesse, is okay. You look at the time on that; it's 11.1 seconds to go.
Mhm.
The goal is scored 1.8 seconds later. In pro sports, 1.8 seconds is an eternity, especially at the end. And when you
It's
look
pretty
at
tight.
but here it's not though. It's 2 full seconds later, almost. And you look at this. Okay, so are we going to look at goaltender interference now as like an offside? So if I make contact with the goalie in the crease for the next 30 seconds, nothing can count because I made I made
Yeah,
contact.
I think
kind of like
that's-
when we go like 45 seconds into the pass, review a goal because that's when they gained entry
I think-
and it's an offside and that's it.
I
So
think that's
blow
how
it
it's always
dead.
been.
Then
I
blow
think-
it dead.
Yeah, but that's not what they do.
there was a goal.
You're asking for them to change the rules.
There was a goal
Yeah,
a
maybe
few
I am.
years ago
Yeah.
that I still resent. So everyone knows the Matthews point when he scored, and because there was a goal before that was disallowed. That's not the one I'm still salty about. It was a Leafs Kings game in Toronto. Quick gets knocked over. I don't remember how it happened. Let's say a Leaf did it and he shouldn't have ought to done it. Quick proceeds to stop playing hockey. He left it. He's campaigning to the ref, litigating to the ref, skating out of his net, throwing a giant Jonathan Quick fit, which great goalie, great career. Man, that guy craps his diaper sometimes. And that's exactly what he was doing. He quit playing. The Leafs didn't. And a few seconds later, they score.
I remember that.
And they're like, nope, goalie interference.
He wasn't
Should
playing.
it count if he didn't play?
But this is my point, is that if you have something like that, if this is how this rule is written, and you're right, Jesse, I think I am asking for the rule to be changed, that means that it invalidates literally everything afterwards. And that's what's so annoying is like there are certain times where I can see, like I'm watching, a team, usually the Leafs, and I'll go, that should have been offside. I hope they don't score here. Like that's literally what it does to me.
Yeah.
And so are we going to do the same thing with goaltender interference, or is the NHL finally going to get to the point where we clear up the gray areas with this? Because this is not, for whatever you may think of this particular situation, guys, this situation, the goaltender interference and the gray area around it has been an issue specifically the last 3 years. And I can remember when we were growing up, remember the creases were wider and everything was an in the crease goal, and they called everything back, and the Stanley Cup winning goal shouldn't have counted. We know it shouldn't have counted. Brett Hall's foot was in the crease.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah. Well, so my point in all of that is saying, if we don't clear this up, this is a consequential game for those two teams. But
Both
when
of
it
them.
becomes a consequential game for the NHL, which it did in the finals in Dallas versus Buffalo, then they change the rules. And I think we're going to see this in the playoffs where something crazy happens at the end of a game. It kills a game for a team, because I think it's worth mentioning the Islanders lost.
In the
They
shootout.
lost.
They got a point when they should have got 2, and Columbus got
2.
2 points when they should have got 0.
Yeah.
None.
This whole
It's a
situation,
massive
And it
swing.
was also important because New Jersey lost to Thatcher
Vancouver.
Demko, who made an unbelievable save in overtime.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. Lost to the Canucks. And I don't think Jersey's going to fall out. But if these teams are going to make
They're
the
falling.
playoffs, that's important. There's an opportunity to make up ground there.
I think that New Jersey's got a big enough buffer in the
They
league
do.
that I don't think we need to
They'll
get
be
into
fine.
New Jersey missing the
No,
playoffs
but if
territory.
you're the Islanders,
But the thing I think is important is the person we should feel bad for is every Islanders fan in existence, because it's not, you can't look at this and understand what's going on. You talk about this all the time, is like, hey, if somebody was watching this hockey game for the first time, this is impossible to explain to an average person.
Oh my God.
And that
Well-
sort of stuff is completely ruining the game. If you're an Islanders fan, you should be pissed off because this doesn't really make sense. Maybe you can kind of reason with it, but it's unfair to you.
No,
Also,
here.
2 seconds later, it's not. He had, as you alluded to, I think you nailed it. Would he have stopped it anyway?
no.
That's not in their decision making.
And it should
So
be.
here's
Right,
how-
and you're right, Jesse. You nailed it. We want to change the rule.
So sometimes we never do this thought exercise this way. So if I had to explain this from scratch to someone, every goalie is a precious orchid you may not breathe in the wrong direction of. So let's do a fantasy scenario here. Let's say this doesn't happen, something else happens. Kyle Palmieri skates in front of the blue paint, which he's allowed to do, and punches Elvis Merzlikins right in the chest.
In the dick and balls.
He punches him right in the dick and balls. What would you expect it?
We're like, Elvis, you should have won your cup.
Wow, that's so crazy. Why did he do that?
What would you expect to happen to Kyle Palmieri?
I would expect that, first off, the goal probably doesn't count.
Goal probably doesn't
He
count.
might get a penalty.
He'll probably get a penalty. Everyone on the Blue Jackets beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And everyone looks at it and goes, well, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
They shouldn't. Yeah.
Meanwhile, goalies around the league, not just Elvis, glove and blocker guys in the spine.
Oh, yeah.
with
Which Merzlikins did.
impunity.
Yeah.
Merzlikins did on this play, was pushing him from behind.
No, there's no rules for goaltenders.
No, growing up watching Ed Belfour on the Blackhawks, but then when he became a Leaf, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The stuff he was
Jordan Binnington assaults people constantly on the ice.
Dude,
A lot of it,
Joseph
listen, a lot of
Wool-
it's fake. He does pull punches, literally.
Yeah,
Joseph
but when you're
Wool-
not looking, and your back is
Yeah.
turned, is turned to him, and you're watching the play. He's going at you.
both Leaf goalies are awful cuddly,
Yeah,
and I love it.
yeah.
Good. No, Wool, who's like the happiest go luckiest little golden retriever, blockers guys all the time. So
Also, blockers hurt.
Oh,
yeah.
They're
think?
Yeah.
meant to stop like 100-mile-an-hour pucks.
So-
you think this thing's not going to hurt you?
but the goalie's just defending their crease.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a new rule proposition.
Yeah.
Blue paint is lava, and you get to do whatever you want from in there. All right, white paint's lava. I get to punch you as long as I'm in the white paint.
Yeah, you're free for cross checks.
Just deck a goalie.
Well, if
it's
a
fine.
goalie's behind the net with the puck, you can't hit him. That's goaltender interference.
Yeah,
Why is that?
because they are delicate, precious orchids
Right.
that you may not don't
And they
look
don't
at
have
them,
the same-
It's going to screw up their pH.
And they also can't skate as fast, and they are
I
wide open
understand. No,
they're wide open
They need to
targets.
be protected.
They're carrying a
The
ton of
hockey players are
equipment.
not.
Yeah. They tough or
You
not.
want this ice or not?
Goalies need to be protected, but to me, that's that's
No,
a
I
bit
agree.
much.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
a
they
bit
do
much.
need to be protected.
Yeah,
I'm
I get
kidding.
it. I get it. Now, I will say this, and this is the next most important question. I'm going to read some quotes. Kyle Palmieri, I think it was effing embarrassing. That was hands down the worst no-goal call I've ever seen. Bo Horvat. If Toronto is afraid to overturn calls by the referee, then we don't need Toronto.
That was
Patrick
Horvat?
Waugh.
Oh, that was wow.
Yeah, let me finish the quote.
Oh.
So, and then I'll ask the question here, which is how many dollars in fines are we going to get after this
Literally
game?
all of them.
They're all getting fined, right?
$0.
You think $0?
$0.
So
$0.
this is what we talk about with the NHL is there's so much gray area that they can be like, hey, you're not allowed to do that. Also, you kind of got fucked a bit. So here, we're going to waive the fine.
Yeah. I think this is an admission like, you know what? Rule kind of sucks. You said some shit. We're even.
What did
They don't
I'm
fine
sure
them.
Can you read it again?
He said if Toronto is afraid to overturn calls by a referee, then we don't need Toronto. Meaning the Situation Room in Toronto. And by the way,
That's-
my follow-up is, can we move the damn Situation Room out of Toronto?
Please
move it out of
That
Toronto.
office. I think there's like he didn't call any referee out in particular. He didn't go on a tirade against
He's not
arrest
getting fined.
Kelly Sutherland or anything like that. No fine. He just said some shit about the Situation Room.
If Waugh said what Palmieri had said,
Then it's do you think Palmieri gets a fine?
maybe, but player fines are so much less. Head coaches get fined 25 G's.
Because there's
Yeah.
no rule. There's no rule on that. Whereas like
Yeah.
with players, it's like,
Mhm.
hey, we might take $5,000.
You know what
They
else goes
probably
into
let it-
this?
I think they all skate, dude.
Wow.
I think they all
The thing
skate.
that also goes into this is that Patrick Waugh is Patrick Waugh, and if that's Sheldon Keefe who says that,
It's different.
he's probably getting fined like $10 million.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
10 million.
Yeah.
You get an additional $25,000 fine for looking at Wes McCauley.
Yeah. So-
how long do you think before they end up changing the rules here fully?
I don't think one regular season incident sways them. Maybe in the playoffs they look at it, but at the end of the day, they look at it and they go, what's the priority here? What's the reason for these rules? The purpose of that rule is to protect goaltenders, and in their mind,
Yeah.
Fabergé
did here.
eggs.
Yeah.
Fabergé,
literally.
good term.
Yeah.
Good term. I don't know why I went with orchid.
Fabergé egg is a good one. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. For the rest of the week, we have another show coming out tomorrow, which is amazing. We're also going to have meet and greet, so I'm going to run this down. We've got a Barracuda watch party tomorrow, which we're so looking forward to. It's going to be the best. And then Thursday, a meet and greet with the Sharks. Not actually with the Sharks, but at the Sharks
Shark
game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
We're bringing them all out,
Yeah.
lining them up
Be
one
like-
by one.
It's going to be like at a funeral. You just shake everybody's hand. Friday,
Everyone's having a great
watch
time.
a Steve Dangle podcast live with here, and then obviously a meet and greet with us, and then we'll do some post game stuff on Saturday. But we're going to be in San Jose all week. We're having a blast.
Saturday we're riding a Zamboni.
Yeah. Oh my! I forgot about that.
That's pretty sick.
I didn't. I'm friggin' stoked. I
thanks-
told my kid I'm his friggin' hero now.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
So thanks so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place.